An orphaned boy named Pip gets to live the big life in London, but realizes that maybe he doesn't want to be rich and successful after all. Why? Let's read Great Expectations and find out. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I will be reviewing Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. So, Great Expectations is the second Charles Dickens book I've read. Of course, the first one was A Christmas Carol, which I did for the Christmas special last year. And so, of course, I happen to really like A Christmas Carol, so I decided to give Great Expectations a shot. And while it was okay, well, a little more complicated than that. I wouldn't say it was quite as good as A Christmas Carol. Basically, Great Expectations is quite a bit longer. The text is quite a bit smaller. And I just generally found it a lot slower paced than A Christmas Carol. But I'm going to get all that in due time. So anyway, to further explain what Great Expectations is actually about, let's get right into the summary. So, this novel starts out with Pip, a young orphaned boy who is living with his sister and her husband, Joe. And so basically, Uncle Joe, or I guess brother-in-law Joe, as he really is like just this super nice dude and stuff. He doesn't do anything wrong. He really loves Pip and takes care of Pip and stuff. And, so that's very nice. So, one night, while Pip is out looking at his parents' grave and stuff, mourning for them, this escaped convict comes up to him in exchange for some food and a nail file to get out of these chains. Anyway, long story short, Pip helps him, but the convict later gets arrested by the police. And so anyway, some time passes. Turns out that Pip needs to go to London based on some people because they want him to be like rich and stuff and like start up his own business and everything and whatever. And so this is where the book really gets confusing. Basically, Pip goes through a lot of stuff that lasts over many years, including meeting these women named Miss Havisham and an adopted daughter named Estella, who he finds really attractive and he really likes, but she's kind of been bred to break hearts, I guess, as you could say. And then anyway, so Pip just kind of becomes Joe's apprentice because Joe's a blacksmith and whatever. And so one day, or I guess one night, Pip is in bed, and then he meets this guy named Wemmick, I believe his name is. And it turns out that Wemmick was the convict that gave him that money a while ago. Oh yeah, he got a lot of money and stuff. And he thinks it was Miss Havisham to like prepare him for marrying Estella, but nope, it was actually this Wemmick guy. Anyway, so that's cool. But, so, long story short, he goes up to Miss Havisham's house, confesses his feelings for Estella, and then Estella just breaks his heart. And so, years go by, and then Pip is kind of grown selfish, and a lot of the time he's like, fully gotten rid of Joe. He just, like, doesn't like Joe anymore. He's embracing the high life and being rich and all that, and successful. But as the years have passed, he realizes that maybe having all that money isn't all it's cracked up to be. And so he starts to regret the way he treated Joe and then starts putting Joe back into his life and everything. And then long story short, he makes it up to Joe and then, they're friends again and all that. And it also turns out that he's gotten into a lot of debt over those years and then Joe paid back all that debt. So that's very good. Anyway, in the last chapters of the book, Pip goes to Miss Havisham's abandoned house because she's now deceased. But Estella is also there, having broken away from not only her husband, but also Miss Havisham. And basically they talk for a little bit, and then they decide to remain friends. And then Pip senses that both of them have had character changes. But for the most part, that is how Great Expectations ends. So if you couldn't tell by the summary I just tried to do, I didn't really understand Great Expectations a whole lot. I found it very long-winded. It's a little too long for its own good. Charles Dickens' prose, while excellent and great, it's just very hard for me to understand. I don't understand Old English as it was. And that wasn't like super Old English, but it was kind of Old English at the same time. I hope you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm just saying that the Great Expectations was kind of a little hard to follow. It was very dense in prose. It was hard to read. And just the fact that I just didn't really understand what was going on just kind of made it all the worse for wear. I mean, it's not a terrible book at all. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it's certainly a book that I was wanting to like a lot more, but I didn't because of my experience with it. Like I said, it was a little too long for its own good. It's very prose heavy. It's very dense in terms of language that I just did not understand. And possibly the biggest crime of this book is that it's just quite boring. It's like some stuff happens at the beginning and the end, but most of the middle, like about a good maybe 90% of it, just has nothing happening really of substance. So, I mean, I wish I could give it a more positive review, but I just can't because it's just really slow and really boring. And while I do love slower paced things to give you time to like focus on the characters and stuff, as much as I love that, Great Expectations just really had nothing happen at all. It's like, at least with a lot of slower paced books, it usually picks up like towards the end or at least in the last half, but Great Expectations just didn't really have that. Stuff just kind of happened, and then as I was reading it, I was just kind of mentally zoned out the whole time because it was just really boring. I didn't know what was going on. So whenever something happened to the book, I was just like, okay, that might as well happen. So yeah, I mean, I wish I had a more positive review for Great Expectations, but I just don't. However, don't think that this turns me off from reading more Charles Dickens, because I certainly want to. One less than stellar book from an author doesn't mean that author is bad in themselves. I also do have A Tale of Two Cities, which I am told is one of his best books. So, I mean, I guess stay tuned for that. But as for Great Expectations, it's just kind of fine. It's just mid, I guess. Meh. So, it's not terrible. It's not amazing either. It's just fine. It's very slow paced. And I think that if you have a better attention span than me, you could probably get into it a lot more. But I just found it very, very slowly paced. And I wish something else would have happened because I just understood nothing of what happened at all. I had to watch like videos and stuff about the actual plot because I just was so confused by it. But anyway, so despite me not necessarily recommending Great Expectations, I probably won't read it again for a while, if at all. But I will also say, I would say you should give it a try. Maybe you would like it a lot more than I have. And I've even looked up online about Great Expectations. It looks like a lot of other people found it hard to follow and even slow too. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels this way. But Charles Dickens is like such a fantastic author. So, I wanted to experience his works. But Great Expectations is just not one of those works that I think fits me the best. But yeah, so anyway, I may not read Great Expectations in the near future, but for all I know, your opinions may as well change on that. So please, you go read Great Expectations. You try it. You see if you love it. If not, that's fine. But if you do, that's also perfectly fine. But that is it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my review for Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Again, I'm sorry it's not a more positive review. And while there certainly is stuff to like in Great Expectations, it is just not the book for me. But I do think that Tale of Two Cities might be the book for me. And so I will review that in the future, so stay on the lookout for that. Anyway, I just want to thank each and every single one of you for watching my videos and subscribing and commenting and all that stuff. You guys know I love your interactions with me. I love interacting with you guys as well. And so just like, thank you for supporting me on YouTube. We are getting very close to 400 subscribers. So that would be such a big milestone to hit here in 2026. But anyway, yeah, that is it from me. I've been Mr. BG. This has been BG's Books. And I will see you guys in the next video.